Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another editions of Confessions from the Backseat of a Country Boy from Georgia. Today, we got a good memory. Came from when I was actually in boot camp. Let me see how I want to title this one. Let's go with the Runaway HIV Test. Yes, I said it, the Runaway HIV Test. You'll understand what I mean by the Runaway HIV Test. It's a combine of the whole story into basically a few words. This one, the gentleman's name, I will start with his last name. I don't remember his first name because we all went by last name. Recruit Odom. Again, his last name is Odom, O-D-O-M. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he's still alive and everything's well. So I get into the story with this. We're in boot camp. We're probably in, I'm going to guess, just getting toward the end of first phase, which is the first month. We had a gentleman actually, we would receive letters in. And basically on Sundays, we would basically, read our letters and write them out and mail them out and then wait for the rest of the week. And then we'd get them on Sundays again. They let us read them. So I guess he received a letter and no one knew anything about what was in it. And so that Monday came and he just didn't want to he didn't get up on time. There would be like a time for reveille. It would just be like 5 o'clock. Everybody's got to get up, start moving around, clean your bed and, and a shower and everything. And he was just lounging, getting up, just casually taking his time, didn't care. They was yelling. They came out yelling at him. He was just looking at him. He lost his motivation. And they were yelling. He would cry, just look at him. He would just stand there. Just look at him, like stand at attention, look at him. We were all like, what the heck is going on? We'd still be doing our own thing. And they'd be on him, then he'd try to rush a little bit, and then they'd get back, and he'd just stop and freeze, just look at him and cry. They'd be all in his ear, like one over here, just one in his face and one behind. So they would be really just going. They didn't give you no mercy. I mean, they cared if you cry, whatever. It'd be 3 or 4 yelling, spitting in your face, just going at it. And this is in boot camp. That was in 1991, by the way. Sergeant Ducko, Sergeant Chamberlain, and Sergeant Johnson of Staff Sergeant Guard. Yeah. When you're a Marine, you always remember those names. Staff Sergeant Guard, if I ever see you, I'm still going to give you that punch in the chest. I'm going to respect you because you're an old man. I won't punch you in the face, but if I ever see you, I'm going to punch your ass in the chest. I owe you that one. Anyway, that's another story. We'll get into that later. So back to this Odom, the Runaway HIV Test. So he starts to not train that Monday and we're messing up everything, all our drills, and we're all starting to get in trouble, because they're like, since he's just going to keep screwing it up, so I'm going to punish everybody. And then they start asking, why is he crying? And he wouldn't answer and he wouldn't talk back to them. So they started taking it out on the whole platoon. So when I say taking out on the whole platoon, basically they would put us like in push-up position and just thrash the crap out of us. They would go and take us out in the grass, high grass, where it was a bunch of what they call, it was in Paris Island, South Carolina, where they got sand fleas. So we put us in a push-up position and you'd be in the grass and the sand fleas would be hopping all over in your ear and your chest, just biting you. And this true story, I witnessed. This is what happened. Look to the right. A guy went into convulsion because he had too many bites, and I don't know if he was allergic, but he ended up being okay. Could you imagine this guy just flopping around in the grass, spitting up? Yeah, it's kind of scary to a guy looking at it, right? I'm sure worse to the guy who's going through it. Again, let's keep the story moving. So we're being punished all day. All day. We're not really even trained. They're just making us hug trees and hold on to it, keep your feet off the ground, like that kind of punishment, not training. So this went on, and I got to tell you, there's a portion, well, I mean, don't get me wrong. This is an embarrassing story to begin with for me, and it really hurt, but we had no clue on what was going on at the moment. Again, I'll say it's very embarrassing, but let me tell the story. So we keep getting our ass handed to us, and so the drill instructor does this. It's the whole weekend went by. We've been just, like I said, getting handed. And next thing you know, it's Sunday again. And it's time for us to get our little treats like cookies and stuff that people have sent us, read our letters. We get our little 30-minute to an hour, mostly an hour break. So we're all getting ready to do that. And the drill instructor said, nope, you're not doing any of that. Since Recruit Odom don't want to participate and want to train and tell us what's going on, you guys are getting nothing. So they basically took all our goodies, right? And they took and made us sit in the floor, row after row, and row after row, and had put him in a chair right in front of us, about 5 feet. And they started giving him cookies and said, no, go ahead and eat it. Recruit Odom. He's crying and they're shoving cookies in his mouth. He's crying. And it's just a horrible scene. And the sad part is, you would think that it's like 60 of us in this platoon. you would think that there would be a lot of sympathy, right? None. People were just tired of getting punished, man. We were getting our ass handed for a whole week. Just handed. Rico, you know what I'm saying. And all he had to do was talk to him, tell him what his issue was, whatever the problem was. They were trying to work with him. At first, they would just punish his ass because whatever it is that he read in that letter and made him, just took his motivation and didn't want to train. It was horrible, whatever it was at that moment. So again, we fast forward, we're sitting here on the quarterdeck in rows, and he's sitting there crying, mumbling with cookies and cakes and stuff all in his mouth, and drilling suckers say, I'm gonna let y'all, sit in and enjoy looking at him eat your stuff while I go back in there. So they're in the back and they're peeking out, looking, and we're all like out here just ready to kill this kid. You know what I'm saying? And they set this up perfectly, but I think it was the best, wrong setup. Now that I'm looking back in hindsight what it was. So I'm fuming, and now Stetson Garza comes out, you know what? F this. You know what? You guys want to eat? You guys want to eat? Here. And he started throwing cookies at us, throwing cakes and pies and candies at us, and now I got a pack of cookies in my lap. I'm talking a whole row, just everything, just a whole square, just unopened cookies, and he's throwing them out, and he dumps stuff on top of the guy's head, and he goes back in. And we're all looking at each other. We don't think we should eat. And he's like, you want to eat? Go ahead and eat your food. He comes back out and I said, fucking eat. Whoo! And he came out and yelled at. Listen, it's not a lot of times that I lose it. I lost it. So I'm like on the front row. I open the cookies and I look at them. It's like I said, 3 rows full. I get up. I just take like 2-3 hard sprints over and I cuff it in my hand like that. And I smack the living with those cookies in his face. I don't want to say, Odom, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. I hope, again, I pray that you're okay. And again, that's one of my sins. I should have never put my hands towards you, on you, slap you with some cookies. I should have never done that. But for the sake of telling the story, I'm going to finish it. And again, that's to you, Odom. Yeah, I slapped the shit out of with those cookies. Because, man, I was tired of getting punished. And it just like everyone was up. And they started throwing things. And drill instructor came out and said, sit down. We all sat down. Now, I'm crying because I'm mad. I want to get at him. Not because of this. I just want this to be over. I'm sick of this. I'm steaming. The tears roll out. And I just suck it up. Sit back down. They came in, and the next thing they pulled him inside, and he broke down. Next thing you know, he went away for a day or two, and then came back, and he took off. Yeah, he took off. He basically went AWOL. He just tried to leave. Well, Parris Island, South Carolina. Meaning, the reason they call it Parris Island is because there's only one way in, one way off. Swamps around it. That's one way in, one way out. Parris Island. So he's loose for like 2 nights, sleeping outside on the cars. We heard it. They told us a story, and he ended up getting picked up. So he got processed out. But the drill instructor came back and they kind of told us a story, which was, here it is. The reason why we call it Runaway HIV Test. Obviously, he ran away. He didn't want to be there anymore. He wanted to train. He lost his motivation and he got slapped with cookies. Everybody turned on him. We didn't know what the deal was. Well, lo and behold, in that letter that he read, it was his dad wrote him a letter telling him that he might not ever see him again and that he had HIV and that he was dying. And being that this is in 1991, this is the first sign of case for me as a black man in the South, that someone that close that I know had HIV. You saw it on television, you heard him talk about it, but you never really knew anyone who had it or around it. And so it was very eye-opening, and it made me really not sleep that night. And it just kind of kept me up, which it should have. And to know that that's what was troubling that young man, which is his father wrote him a letter stating that he had HIV. He was so shook because he knew nothing about it, just like none of us, and none of us kids. So he instantly thought in his head that he had it. He thought that if his dad had it, he had it, and it just totally screwed him up. It wasn't about his dad. I mean, don't get me wrong, part of his dad dying, so he thought that soon he was going to be dying. It was more so about that. And I got to tell you, I mean, that it's a story that I will always remember for all my life. But again, in living in that moment, again, it was just the anger and the temper of being what I was going through. And again, I apologize, Odom. That's a true story. Can be verified by Rico, which was there with me. 1991, Bootcamp, the Runaway HIV Test. There it is. All right, guys. Love you. Peace.